There is a story most of us grow up hearing. It's told by our parents, repeated by teachers, and plastered on billboards with smiling couples holding house keys. The story says this: renting is a waste of money. You're just paying someone else's mortgage. Buying a house is how real adults build wealth. This idea becomes so strong that it feels like a rule of life. If you're still renting in your late 20s or 30s, it can feel embarrassing, like you're behind, like you missed an important step. So people rush. They buy homes they can barely afford. They stretch their budgets to the limit. They tell themselves it must be smart because everyone else is doing it. But what if this story is outdated? What if the math no longer works the way it used to? Because for millions of people today, this advice isn't just wrong. It's quietly keeping them broke. The market has changed. The economy has changed. But the story stayed the same. And the uncomfortable truth is this: for many people, their house is not an investment. It's a very expensive lifestyle choice. I'm Rose, and I spend way too much time breaking down money math that most people never stop to question. If you feel pressured to buy a home, or if you own one but still feel stressed about money, this video is for you. Today we're going to slow everything down and actually look at the numbers. We'll talk about the real costs of owning a home, the hidden costs people ignore, the price-to-rent ratio, and why renting and investing the difference can sometimes lead to more freedom and wealth. Let's start with a phrase everyone uses: throwing money away. When you rent, it's obvious. You pay rent. That money is gone. But when you buy a home, people say your monthly payment is building equity. That sounds nice, but it's not fully true, especially at the beginning. A huge part of owning a home is also throwing money away. It just feels hidden. These are called unrecoverable costs. Money you pay that never comes back to you. First is mortgage interest. In the early years of a 30-year mortgage, most of your payment goes to the bank, not you. If your payment is $2,800 a month, maybe only $300 actually reduces the loan. The rest disappears as interest. You're not paying yourself. You're renting money from the bank. Second are property taxes. This is basically rent you pay to the government forever, and it usually goes up every year. Third is maintenance. Homes break, water heaters fail, roofs leak, air conditioners die at the worst time. A common rule says you'll spend about 1 to 2% of the home's value every year just keeping it standing. Fourth is insurance, which is getting more expensive every year. And finally, buying and selling costs. Agent fees, closing costs, repairs, staging, these can eat up 8 to 10% of the home's value. When you add everything together, interest, taxes, maintenance, insurance, fees, the cost of owning often looks a lot like rent. You're not avoiding rent. You're just paying different landlords, the bank, the city, and the repair company. There's one number that matters more than opinions. It's called the price-to-rent ratio. You calculate it like this. Take the price of a home and divide it by the yearly rent of a similar place. Example: a home costs $600,000. Renting a similar place costs $2,500 a month, or $30,000 a year. $600,000 divided by $30,000 gives you a ratio of 20. Historically, below 15 implies buying usually makes sense. Above 20 implies renting often wins. In many cities today, Los Angeles, Vancouver, London, Miami, ratios are 25, 30, even higher. When the ratio is that high, the math strongly favors renting. Now let's talk about the biggest trap of all, the down payment. To buy that $600,000 home, you might need $120,000 up front. That money gets locked into the house. You can't use it. You can't invest it easily. It doesn't pay you anything. If that same $120,000 was invested in a simple stock market fund earning about 8 to 10% a year, it could double roughly every 7 to 9 years. By putting it into one house, you're betting everything on one location, one market, one outcome. History shows stocks, over long periods, have outperformed housing. Renting also gives you flexibility. If you get a better job offer in another city, a renter can move in weeks. A homeowner has to sell, pay fees, and hope the market cooperates. Sometimes selling wipes out years of progress. Renting buys you options, and options are valuable. Yes, rent goes up, that's a fair concern. But owning isn't fixed either. Taxes rise, insurance rises, repairs rise. Meanwhile, investments tend to grow over time. If your investments grow faster than rent increases, the renter can still come out ahead. Owning a home is work. Weekends fixing things. Stress when something breaks. Mental load you never see on spreadsheets. Unexpected bills that wipe out your savings. Negotiating contractors. Dealing with noisy neighbors. Managing property taxes and insurance renewals. Planning for long-term repairs you didn't budget for. It's more than money. It's time and energy. Renting buys back time. Time you can use to rest, learn, or earn more. Time to travel without worrying about an empty house. Time to take that side hustle or start a business. Time to spend with friends and family instead of worrying about the lawn. Time to upgrade your skills, boost your career, or invest in yourself. Buying isn't always bad. It makes sense if you plan to stay 10+ years and truly settle down. You value customization, painting walls, remodeling, or adding a deck. You have a safety net for unexpected costs. The numbers actually work, meaning the total cost of owning is not crushing your budget. You want a stable place to live without the risk of rent increases. But buying is not a requirement for wealth. A house is a place to live, not a guaranteed investment. Here's a startling fact. Over the past 50 years, the average home in the U.S. has increased in value by about 1% per year after adjusting for inflation, while the S&P 500 has returned roughly 7% per year. That means a $300,000 house bought in 1970 would only be worth around $540,000 today in real terms, while the same amount invested in the stock market could have grown to over $4 million. The difference isn't luck, it's the math. This shows that owning a home doesn't automatically make you rich. Understanding where your money grows fastest is critical for building real wealth. Wealth comes from assets that pay you: stocks, bonds, businesses, digital products, or skills that generate income. Don't let old stories pressure you into bad math. Run the numbers. Check the ratio. Understand the trade-offs. Think about your long-term goals. Do you want flexibility to move for a better job? Do you want liquidity to invest when opportunities arise? Do you want time freedom or to be chained to maintenance and repairs? If renting makes sense, rent with confidence and invest the difference. Build flexibility. Build liquidity. Build wealth on your own terms. Consider this. A renter who invests wisely can often outpace a homeowner in net worth, even if the homeowner owns a property worth hundreds of thousands more. Owning a home is just one tool in the financial toolbox. It is not the only path to security or freedom. By understanding the math and the lifestyle trade-offs, you can make choices that actually work for you, not for a cultural script or neighbor comparison. If this made you rethink the dream, hit like, subscribe, and share this video with someone who is considering purchasing a home soon or in the near future, and I'll see you in the next one.